So we've got a digger, and with this digger I have to dig all of this down to the level where we're going to start digging the foundations out, create a vegetable garden there, and turn all of this into a pond. I've got to do all that whilst managing my daughter's expectations of a pink digger. We've got 2 weeks and we haven't got the dump truck yet, so wish me luck.
Okay, so we have some stuff to get done before we start the house itself. First of which is going to be some admin, such as changing the bucket, getting everything set up. Then we're going to try scraping some of the soil away from the side of the parking, which is where we're going to be adding the extra spaces for the future and access to the side of the workshop. Then it's time for the trips for the kids. And finally, we're going to be moving the soil back into the drainage channel, as we've got the pipes sat in there already and we want to bury that back away. The digger's a bit bigger than the previous digger, so I'm having to sort of scoop it from a further distance. When Scooter came and did it, he used his tracks right along the side of the drainage channel, making it nice and easy. I had to kind of bodge it.
Okay, so here is my super technical drawing of our vegetable garden plan with colour effects from my children. We have 20 metres by 20 metres, split up into 5 metre sections. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections allocated for polytunnels. The reason I've done that is because one of these polytunnels is about £1,000 rather than getting a far bigger one, and it enables us to be modular, so we can put one there and start, see how it goes. I suspect we might discover that we need quite a lot of polytunnels because of our altitude, quite high up in the hills, so we don't get very much daylight and it's a bit colder, so I feel like we may end up needing more polytunnels than we think. So that's all reserved for the polytunnels. The sun comes around like this, and in the winter it really only does that. So the reason I'm putting the polytunnels here is so that they don't create any shade onto these beds, which are going to be open air for the meantime. And I'm hoping to have them in a sort of more of a rough layout rather than really regular straight beds. I know it might be easier to plant really straight things, but I prefer it to look a little bit more organic. So we're going to see how this works out with the digger, and yeah, really excited.
So you can see here how wet it really is. Puddles pooling around my wellies as I stand there in the middle of where we're going to be putting these vegetables. So although we're going for an organic shape, I wanted at least some kind of line to work the digger towards. So that's why I'm trimming a straight bit-ish, so that I've got somewhere to focus my eyes whilst I'm driving that digger. This is me trying to hold a camera, zoom it in, drive the digger with 2 hands and steer, so that's why the camera's all over the place. But I'm trying to show how wet the soil is. As I take a deep scoop like this, it goes with all the water in there, and also you can't quite see it actually, but there's stone directly beneath this. So what's happening is the water's sitting against the clay and just collecting in that little bit of soil you can see there. But I wanted to show a close-up, not of the hose as I just did, but of the soil.
So I just finished the vegetable garden yesterday, as you saw, and I didn't really expect the water to puddle quite as it is already. We've got 3-4 troughs, and this is filled up pretty much immediately. So I hadn't really planned on having another pond, but seeing as it's settling so well, I think what I might do, I can either dig it straight into the river so this drains away, but you know, this is a wetlands and it's kind of designed in a way that it trickles into the river. I don't want to just evacuate the whole lot. I'm not sure that really works with nature as it's meant to be. So I think what I might do is create a kind of smaller pond over here, and then it might give us some growing space. I don't currently know what I would grow in a pond, but as it's part of the vegetable garden, I feel like we might be able to grow some edible stuff on it. So I think we're going to go for a pond over there, and then that'll give somewhere for the water to sit. But it's really good news for our ponds over there, isn't it? Because if this is sitting already, it's not all running away through the soil, hopefully. I didn't want to line the ponds because you've got a big plastic sheet, and also I just don't like it, plus the cost of it. So this is a good sign that we might be able to keep the ponds without having to line them.
So I was going to be connecting all of these 3 troughs together so that they could drain, you know, one into the other, which I haven't done here, but now we've decided to make a pond. We're going to make the pond first, then connect them. Otherwise, if you connect them first, you're going to have all the runoff chasing you as you're trying to dig the ponds. So they've filled up already. That at least gives the water somewhere to sit, which isn't right under my feet. Here's the flood that you can see trickling away into the pond once I dug it. And there's a natural soak away between the pond and the river. It's sort of one of those wet, muddy bits where if you tread on it, you sink right up to your waist because it's got so much water in it. But it means that it discharges the water nice and gently, and we haven't had any problems with the pond filling up. It's actually, or overflowing its banks. It's sat there quite nicely, even with this amount of rain here. So we're going to have a reed bed, and the reed bed is going to sit on a soakaway. Now a soakaway, for us at least, are some plastic crates that look a little bit like milk crates, although they're much larger. You sink them into the ground and then you fill them with gravel, and that gives you somewhere to put the water so it can be discharged nice and slowly. Now I had an idea. Not all of my ideas work, but this one did work quite well in the end. I thought, I can't get the dump truck down there with the gravel because of where the soakaway is, but if I unroll a layer of plastic sheeting and then dump the gravel at the top, maybe I'll be able to hand dig it down and it won't be such a pain. Actually ended up working quite nicely. You can see the dumper at the top is already sinking, and it gets quite steep after there, so I didn't want to get the dumper any closer to the edge than that. You know, it'd be nice to just tip it and pour it straight into the soakaway, but there we go. And it, without too much effort, slid down quite nicely. So what I'm trying to do here is each of these crates is not quite as level as I want it to be. So if I put a spade of gravel under each corner, I can lift the corners up as far as I like to, and then, you know, level them all off together rather than leaving them unlevel, because I'm going to be building the reed bed on top of this, so I'd like it to be level so that I haven't got to level off the blocks afterwards. We've spec'd these crates for the size of the roof that we're planning on building, so it's a lot bigger than you'd need for a reed bed, but we didn't want to do this job twice, so we just put everything in that we would need for the whole house, and if we need it, it's already there. Now more observant of you might spot that if I pour all the gravel down as it is, it's just going to fill up the side of the soakaway. So what I'm going to be doing is digging with a spade, trying to fill in the section just behind, here you go, just behind the crate, so that the gravel can pour into the top and not just fill up the side. Oh, hey, finally getting with the house. Although you can't see much of it in this shot, I promise. There we go, that's a better shot. So digging it out, we're trying to get it level from the bottom into the hill so that we've got, we can see what the ground conditions are like, whether there's any bedrock, and also to leave the ground to settle for the next year so that we're not making this ginormous mess and then trying to bring in cement lorries and blocks and deliveries and all that stuff. I just want to get this done this year, and it gives it time to settle off so that next year we can hit the ground rolling.
You're gonna have to get over the hard work here. Well, it's the digger that's been doing most of the hard work. I've just been sitting there playing with the toys. So you'll see there's no dumper truck, and I didn't film it. You'll see why in a minute. Drove it straight down here, and as you've seen with the vegetable patch, the ground here is so soft it just went. I hadn't even loaded it up. It just straight in. So I had to dig that out with a spade. It was raining. Didn't have time for the camera. So there's no dumper truck, which means I'm having to move all of this mud with a digger only, which in hindsight is actually no slower, because I'd have to get out of that, get in the dumper truck, and I've got such a large volume of mud to move, as you've seen. I'd be doing 100 journeys. It would stir everything up far more. So actually, apart from having to hire something for a few days that I didn't use, apart from the gravel at the top, it's going okay. But we've got a lot of mud. We've got to move it places. We don't want it in there, which is the house. And you can see I'm having to move it. But there's a benefit to this. The vegetable patch we've done over there is, soil's not great because it's so shallow. So I found that I dug the channels and it was hitting the clay very quickly. And not only that, it's turf, which means you've got to wait for the turf to rot before you can start using it for vegetables. It's basically just not great at the moment. This stuff that's coming out of here though, really rich, really black. Because I've been moving it so many times, it's really mixed, so any clay has been mixed into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm moving some of the mud into a pile here. That I'm going to move over to the vegetable garden, and over the coming 6 to 12 months I'll be moving that onto the vegetable patches by hand. I know it's got seeds and stuff in, but you see I can't get a dumper truck, so I'm not going to be able to buy premium soil. Regardless, it would need such an enormous amount of premium soil, it would cost arm and leg. I'm not in for that, so we're going to be using this. The other pile we're doing over the other side is because the reed bed, where I've dug it into the side of the hill, this side isn't high enough. So we're going to move some soil over there, we're moving some soil over here, and then we're moving the last of the soil to the back, because our house is going to be built up by quite a lot, maybe up to about neck height, in order to get the correct height for the front door up there. So we'll put the rest of it at the bottom, which will mean when we've finished the ground floor height, we can then push that mud back so that we are closer to ground level. We're going to have decking around it anyway, but you know, it will just save that massive drop off. And I've got to put it somewhere. So that's the plan. Today is the first dry day we've had since we got the digger, so I'm making the most of it. And it's actually going a bit quicker than I thought. So, you know, maybe we'll get most of it finished by the end of the day, but we'll see.
So you can see it's not actually that much. Well, you'd be able to see if it was in focus, but it's not. But you could see that it's actually not too bad moving it with the digger without a dumper, as long as you keep the sizes manageable. If you make too big a pile, you can end up not being able to move enough with the arm. So you want to keep it just right, so you're moving as much as you can. And you can see it didn't really take very long. Had to do this in two runs, but you can do it. You just have to be persistent. When you film like this, you can see things you can't at normal life speed. You see how the mud is flowing as I'm piling it up on top. It's sort of acting a little bit like a gel. So it's been a delight so far, not having to worry about digging through any services, any pipes, any electrical cables. It's just been dig as far as you can dig. However, we have some services, and here they are. I know what I'm looking for, but I'm not sure exactly where they are. So I'm using a pickaxe so that I'm not at risk, well, less risk of digging through them. And then I'm going to be pulling them up and trying to pin them out of the way. The inevitable is going to happen. I've already got my videotape ready to send this off to You've Been Framed. Despite pinning all of the services, I couldn't quite see at the top, so I still was a bit nervous about going through them, so I kept going out to check that I was actually far enough away from the services. And we didn't go through anything. Great. The tangle you can see on the right is actually a cable that I'd hit with a flail mower previously, so that wasn't on this time, and it was an old cable that we weren't using for the minute, so it was nothing mission critical. I've just wrapped it up there because I haven't had time to roll it back up and put it in storage. And that's the final dig. Just got the corner squared off as best as I could. Got it all sort of as level as we could manage. The digger was already sinking, so this was about as far as we could go.
So we've done all right. 2 weeks with a digger, no dumper truck. After the first palaver we had, day 2, getting it stuck. Yeah, all right. That was starting to get pretty slippy because it was so wet. It's all right being dry at the end, but if it's been wet for several weeks, the soil retains the moisture. So, you know, when I was driving it forward, if I would stop the tracks, it would continue to slide for a metre or so. So it was getting pretty slippy. It was sinking below the tracks. So I decided to stop it just before we were finished. I could have tidied up some of the edges here a bit more. Had the conditions been a bit better, but it's all right. We got most of it cut out. The aim was to get the hole cut down so that we could see where the stable soil was underneath, where the good place to build was, and just to make sure there was no bedrock protruding out into where we were going to be digging the foundations. So going to leave this for a year to settle out, and then next year when we've got the spring, we'll start earlier in the year, we're going to dig the foundations and then start the proper build within next year's season, good season up here anyway. So that's that bit. Let's go and have a look at the vegetable patch and see how that came on. So I was glad I started this really, because I think if I hadn't done this first, I probably would have decided not to do it because of the conditions that we got into with the ground over there, and this bit is way wetter because it's lower area, it's flat already. That area's got a bit of slope to it, so the water does tend to drain towards the river at a very slow pace because it's very high clay, high peat soil, so it doesn't really tend to, the water doesn't flow away very fast, but over time it does collect over there, whereas here it just collects straight in this whole basin. So had I not done this first, I don't think we would have done it at all. This is all the soil that we've piled up with a view to restocking each of the beds that we've got over there. Polytunnel sections probably don't need that much soil because we're going to have lower beds, but the other sections I'm envisaging a larger mound. I want it to be more of a big mound, lots of stuff on it rather than, you know, individual trays. So whether I use that or not, I don't know, but it has actually created quite a nice wind barrier because the wind can rip through here, and this mound here should just kind of, I'm new to gardening, so it sounds like a good idea. Whether in practice it works, I don't know, but there's a mound here. It's not in the hole where the house is going, so as far as we're concerned on that, we are good. And this is our pond, which is actually coming on all right. There's already some algae forming on the top, which means there's some life in it. There's lots of water boatmen that I can see skimming about. When I was doing the digger, there was this frog that was hopping along, and then as it got to the edge of it, it just went whoosh, belly flop right to the middle. So it didn't take wildlife long to find it. Shame that we didn't get to the, well, I'll explain that in a minute. Being fed by the troughs in the vegetable garden, and we had a bit of a flood in the middle of the couple of weeks, which shows you how much rain we have had. And when the stream burst its banks over there, it spilled over into the troughs that I've dug around the vegetable patch, and that flowed straight into the pond here, which means that the raised beds should be safe from flooding, and hopefully they've achieved their mission of keeping those areas a little bit drier and making this a usable space to grow some vegetables for us. So this pond, I've been talking to everybody locally about it for ages, because I've wanted it since basically we moved here, and this area felt like the perfect place to do it because it's again a wetland. It would fill up really easily because we've got two streams that just run across here, and there's also a block stream in the middle that's kind of just swamped over the path that runs across there. So in my mind it was like, this is the perfect place for a pond, and we can have a really big one, we can put the kayaks in it, the kids can play in it, blah 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 blah. I've been really excited for it, but there's been this other part that's just been niggling at me, because I'm not sure how much you can see behind me, but I mean right now I'm just standing and I can see these buttercups, I can see these tiny blue flowers, I can see these purple flowers, I can see marsh orchids, I can see white flowers, I can see at least 5 butterflies. The longer I look, the more I see. There's ferns, got little lizards. It's just this really kind of special ecosystem because it's a bog. I mean, if you come down here in anything but a drought, you'll sink up to your waist in the mud. So part of me was like, oh, it's a really delicate piece of wildlife here. Maybe I should just keep it as it is rather than digging a pond, which I was doing to try and, you know, improve the diversity around here, because I'm a bit disappointed by the fish, or lack of, in the river. I kind of wanted to see more fish, and I thought if I added the fish, blah 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 blah, you know, I had good intentions, but after thinking about it, I wonder if maybe leaving it as it is really better for the planet. And there's the added point here that I ran out of time with the digger, but I think long term I'm going to give up on that idea, just because there's just so many flowers. And they always say, you know, it's the rainforest and the loss of the wetlands that are to blame for quite a lot of our issues. So maybe I'll just leave it. It's also quite a nice space. Right, so that's a video of me digging. That was probably super exciting. You want to come and see equally exciting videos, such as me trying to turn over a ton of dead turf and stabbing that through the fork, and that's going to be fun. Right, we do have more videos coming out. If you'd like to come and see those, come join us. It'd be nice to have you here, and we'll see you then.